Hey, what's up? My name is Tackless, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the game Destiny. Destiny is a sci-fi first-person shooter made by the developers of Halo. Came out 1 week ago, as of this video, and in that time I have managed to reach level 20, and, well, almost level 20. I'm right on the edge of it. And I've beaten the game. So, I feel like I've gotten a pretty good taste. I know I did a beta review, and in that review I said that I wouldn't buy Destiny. But I did anyways because, well, I had reasons. But you probably also picked up from my beta review that I'm kind of a critic on this game. This isn't. I didn't expect this game to be amazing. So I'm definitely probably a little harsher to it than people who expected it to be the next biggest thing ever. The footage that you're watching is all mine. I didn't have to borrow this footage from anyone. We fight through, I don't know, some random player versus enemy levels, and then we fight a fairly easy strike boss who still takes us forever, and then I have some PvP gameplay of me doing well and then me doing really, really bad, because I'm very bad at PvP. And then at the end I have footage of the moon strike boss, even though it goes very, very quickly because me, Ronix, and SOS, my friends that I play with, we were way higher level than was necessary. But anyways, let's get into the review. I'm going to start with the good things and then I'll go into the bad things. So, for the good things, the controls are great. It feels like a good, solid first-person shooter game. Really don't have a problem with any of the controls. It took me a little while to get used to right bumper for melee instead of clicking the right joystick like it is in Call of Duty or Titanfall. It was a little odd that they don't have it right bump or right stick click when they have nothing else assigned to it. But controls are good. The mobility is good and easy to use. Like the jumps and the glides and the hovers and stuff like that. That's all really easy to use and all that. That's one thing about Titanfall. I love all the movement mechanics in Titanfall, but I fear they're just a little bit too advanced for the casual player, and that might be part of the reason why Titanfall didn't do so well. The art style is nice, and this goes hand in hand with graphics. Now, we're at kind of a point in video games where graphics are important, but the art style is maybe even more important, because if you try to go for just straight out realism, you're not going to hit it, even with modern graphics. But if you make an art style or stylize it ever so slightly, then the game has a uniformity to it, and it looks really nice. So the art style is pretty good. Graphics are top-notch for a first-person shooter. The only other first-person shooter I could really think of that has these good of graphics are maybe Halo 4. I haven't played much of that. Or Wolfenstein, but that has such a different art style, they're hard to compare. Let's see. The tower, the base where you run back to get your encryptions done and get bounties and go to your vault, all that. That's pretty easy to use once you get the hang of it, and it looks nice. Overall, the voice acting is pretty good. I know that the guy from Game of Thrones did our Ghost, and at times he sounded kind of bored as the Ghost, but I think it worked. And then the player himself had a good voice, and the other characters did, so that was nice. I appreciate that they didn't over-masculinize or over-feminize the playable characters. Like, the male characters didn't look like He-Man with massive muscles and crazy stuff like that, and the females weren't over-feminized to look not serious. So I'm glad that they didn't do that. The game usually promotes teamwork. Missions are always easier with a team, and it's a lot more fun to play with the team. Let's see. The scenery from planet to planet has a lot of variety to it, which is nice. I'm going to be mentioning Borderlands and sometimes Diablo in this game, or in this review. But that's one thing I didn't really like about Borderlands, is that the scenery was awfully similar from level to level. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was pretty similar. So it was nice to see lots of variety here. Being able to summon a vehicle is nice to get around quickly. Not much to say there, but that's super nice. Equally good graphics on PS4 and Xbox One. That's sweet. Seems like a lot of PlayStation fans like to rub it in the Xbox One's faces that we are just incompetent of giving their level of graphics. But look at that, now we're not. And if you say that the Xbox or that the PS4 was downgraded to match the Xbox One, you're being ridiculous. Anyways, the UI is clean and sleek. The UI is the user interface. I'm not used to having a cursor-esque thing on a console, which would make me think that it was designed for PC, but there is no PC version of this game, so I guess I just wanted a cursor. And I haven't run into really any bugs or glitches yet. I've run into a couple things here and there, some animation spazzes or some lighting issues, but it's pretty insignificant. So that's pretty much all the good stuff. The bad... Oh man, I recorded this review earlier and I had so many bad things that it went up to 30 minutes, so I'm going to try not to be quite as negative, but there are a lot of things that are wrong with this game. So, first, I guess I'm just going to work through my list of the things that I find most important. Yeah, this boss fight took us almost 8 minutes, and he's one of the easier strike bosses, and everyone in the strike group was a considerably higher level than what was recommended. So that was a little bit odd. Let's see. The gun variety is a bit of a letdown. Not a bit of a letdown. It's a big letdown. Every auto rifle is pretty much the same. Every pulse rifle is pretty much the same. Every shotgun's pretty much the same. They have their variations, but their variations are mostly insignificant. It's just maybe a rate of fire change or something like that. If we look at games like Borderlands or Diablo, Borderlands, there's guns that they only fire in burst fire when you're aiming down sights. They, when you reload, you throw the whole gun like a grenade and it explodes. Or guns with 3 or 4 or 5 barrels, or the list goes on and on. In Diablo, there's a weapon that, for the Warlock, I think it's Warlock, Wizard, Witch Doctor, something like that, that when they attack, it has a chance to summon familiars. So I played with a guy online that had this. He just had droves, swarms of these little familiars running around with him, and it was so cool to watch. It's just the weapon variety's pretty lackluster. The weapon drop rate is not good, and the quality of the drop rate is even worse. I don't get weapons very often at all, and when I do, it's usually not a weapon that's better than my current weapon. It's just, I mean, I could be looking, I could have a rare weapon, and I get a rare encryption for a weapon, and it gives me a uncommon weapon, which is a step down. So that's pretty annoying. Let's see. Gold chests are a letdown. I don't know if you saw the footage earlier of me getting a gold chest, and the item inside was a level 7, and the mission recommended level was 14. So I don't know what the thought process behind that was. Oh, let's see. Oh, when you change your secondary weapon, it destroys ammo. This is up there with the dumbest things video games have ever done. I can understand, maybe understand, why if you're equipped with a shotgun and you switch to a sniper, that those bullets wouldn't transfer. What I can't possibly imagine is why when you switch back to your shotgun, all your bullets are gone. Also, that guy's on fire and he's not carrying the little hunter pistol, so I don't know what's up with him. It's just makes no sense. You want to try a new secondary, but realistically, you're gonna have to commit to that secondary for the rest of the round, like it or not. Let's see. There's no trading. Gosh, have I mentioned this before? And every person I've talked to is like, yeah, this game would be better with trading. I don't get why Bungie has no trading. I have a few theories, but I'm not going to go into them. It's just, you can't have an MMO style game with no trading. Game chat's only for your fire team. Even when you're at the tower. I can understand when you go to the tower you wouldn't want a swarm of voices, but it's also really hard to try to recruit someone to be another fire team member if you're going to go on a strike mission or something like that. The fire team limit is 3, which is ridiculous. That's... oh my goodness. Why couldn't they do 4? 4 makes so much more sense than 3. I know it only sounds like one extra number, but it makes a huge deal. Borderlands had 4, and it was great. I don't get why Destiny couldn't have 4. I understand that they're trying to go kind of small scale-ish, kind of, maybe. So that they wouldn't want, you know, huge clumps of Guardians out there massacring the world. But it's just, 3 is such a limit. And it's also frustrating that you're required to have 3 on strikes. You're not allowed to do it on 2. Apparently, oh yeah, I meleeed this guy and he meleeed me at the same time. But the strikes require you to have 3. Which means if you only have 2, then it'll find a random for you. And the randoms, in my experience, are all pretty stupid. That's not even necessarily Destiny's fault. But I don't get good random people. It feels odd that they require you to have 3, like they couldn't spend the time to scale down the strike missions to be balanced for 2 people. It frustrates me a little bit that public events don't really exist anymore. I mean, they do, but they kind of... I've never seen one pop up. Oh, this is probably my favorite thing in all of Destiny, is to go onto these little metal spires at the tower and push off your fire team, or try to not get pushed off. It's ridiculously fun. But yeah, the public events were one of my favorite things in beta. I've just never seen one. Okay, here our friend was away from his controller, so we just pushed him off the edge of the cliff. So, let's talk about loot. The loot drop rate is really bad. This is one of those games that kind of has slightly boring gameplay, like Borderlands, like Diablo. But the difference with those games is that they drop loot in just bucket loads of loot. Just loot coming out of everywhere. Everything can drop loot, and everything will drop loot eventually. This game, you could get 2 to 3 pieces of loot for a strike mission that takes 30 minutes. Man, my phone is going all vibrating right now. So the loot drop rate is pretty pathetic. The items it drops are almost always green items, white or green items. Now those are common or uncommon, and once you clear about level 10, you're not looking for those items anymore. You're looking for rare items. And I almost never... rare items are really rare to get, and I've beaten the game and I haven't gotten one legendary yet. Oh yeah, so this strike mission is on the moon. We are such an incredibly high level higher than the strike mission. I just wanted to get footage of this boss because he aggravated me so much. But this random that joined us was level 16 for level 11 strike mission, and he kept dying over and over. He died like 4 times prior to this footage even starting. It was really annoying. End level loot is unrewarding and unpredictable, especially for PvP. It makes no sense why they drop loot the way they do, because I've played matches where the winning team gets less loot than the losing team because there's no bonus if you win. I've played where the people with the lowest kill-death ratio get like rares and all kinds of loot, and then the person who single-handedly won the match for the team, carried the whole team on their back, got absolutely nothing. That doesn't make sense to me. Legendary encryptions, they have some problems. So let's go over them as quickly as possible. Legendary encryptions have a chance to drop you uncommon, which is green, which is worthless. I haven't even had a legendary encryption yet, but if I got a green out of it, I would panic. I would freak out. I would be so angry at this game. You would not believe it. Because legendaries are crazy rare, and if it gave me something that I could get at level 2, oh my gosh, I'd lose it. Legendary encryptions also have a chance to create a legendary from a different class. That's pretty dumb. If I'm running a Titan, I could get a legendary encryption and get a legendary item, but for only a hunter. See, he went down again. I guess the idea is that you're supposed to go and be a hunter. and get back up to the level where you can use that legendary, but I'm not going to do that. This game's not that fun. It was barely fun the first time I played it. I'm not going to replay it. Let's see. And if you get a legendary weapon, they increase the chance to drop uncommon. They don't increase the chance of rares or legendaries. They increase chance of uncommon, which means your loot is more likely going to be worthless than before, and that's not a good thing at all. So legendary encryptions just have problems.
Finally.
Let's see. Alright, the footage that you're watching now is actually of the very final boss fight, which I posted footage of mostly because it's a 3-phase boss fight and all phases are exactly the same. You fight these statue things that come to life, but this statue, this is the second statue, you already killed the first one. It died so fast, it was comical. So, let me go over the last things really quickly. The classes aren't very much different. That's kind of frustrating. They have different superpowers, they have different abilities. Yeah, but in 95% of the situations, all the classes are going to act the same. It's not like a Crusader and a Mage from Diablo, how the Crusader is going to run in, and he's going to tank hard, and he's going to be doing a little less damage than, let's say, the Mage, who should hang back and deal massive loads of damage at a range. That doesn't happen. They all pull out their guns and go to town. It's just, there's not much difference between class. You really don't care too much if a random joins you and he's a hunter, or a warlock, or a titan. It doesn't matter that much. Let's see. The enemy AI is not too creative. There's pretty much a template that they follow. Copy and paste the same kind of AIs from enemies to enemies. Bosses sometimes take way too long to kill. Sometimes they're way too easy to kill, like this guy. Like seriously, the early bosses were outrageously hard and long to kill. Dying against a boss, your whole team dying is fairly easy. It doesn't take much for your whole team to die, and when that happens, you start over minus any ammo that you had. That's frustrating. Let's see. I'm just going to really quickly go over PvP. This video is still going pretty long. I can't stand PvP, and it may be just because I'm very bad at it, and maybe it's not PvP's complete fault, but it just feels like an unbalanced mess, and those who are level 25, level 30 with legendary gear are just going to run circles around everyone else, so they can kind of just massacre everyone, which is frustrating. Quickscoping's viable, which this day and age, quickscoping tends to have a bad connotation, so that's a little odd that they made that viable. And there's not many game modes and not many maps. It's just hard to believe that this PvP came from the same people who made Halo, which had amazing PvP. So, just kind of frustrating. So, here's the verdict at 18 or so minutes in. Destiny has a wonderful appearance and acts like it's a much bigger and better game than it actually is. It's kind of sloppy when you really get in there. There's a lot of mechanics that don't make sense and a lot of issues that shouldn't be there. So it pretends to be a beautiful next-gen MMO experience with a $500 million budget, but in reality it's a pretty game with pathetic loot, repetitive gameplay, annoying bosses, and lacks so many social and gameplay elements. It's baffling to think that something as good as Halo could have come from these developers. Destiny will be entirely forgotten by everyone by the end of the year, except for its hardcore dedicated fans. So I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 5, a 5 out of 10, which is not an average game. I put an average game around a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. So that's my review. I totally understand if you don't agree with me. A lot of people won't agree with me, but that's what I think. If you disagree with me, don't leave a comment calling me gay or something like that. Leave a very well-articulated, sensical comment below, and then that'll be your valid opinion. So, do you guys like me doing reviews for games? Do you want me to do reviews for other games that are going to come out? Because I can do that. I have a number of Project Spark tutorials that are about to pop out as soon as the game finishes updating for me. So, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys later.